Great. All right. So this is all good and wonderful, but what if we want to take this to the next step? Because this is, this is pretty great, but, I've got a survey. We just learned how to make a survey not too long ago, and I want to take the survey that I've given to my students and I want to turn their responses into some kind of scored rubric. How do I do that? Well, let's take a look at one of our other data sheets here. So let's jump back here to raw data. So we can see that I made a little entry here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this one so we can start from scratch. So here I've got my survey that I've created, right? So I'm always optimistic about the future. Okay, sure. I agree. I think that's true. There have been times in my life when I felt inferior to others. I mean, there have been a couple times, sure. My family members come to me for support. Sometimes they do. My physical health has restricted me in the past. No, I don't think that's true for me. So I've filled out my little survey here, right? I'm going to hit submit. Clunk. It gives me a nice little response telling me that everything happened just the way it was supposed to. So now what I can do is I can, there I can see my response has been dumped right into my spreadsheet. That's wonderful. But how do I take this response and turn it into something that I can actually measure? Because this is really hard to measure. I'd have to score this in some way, right? So what I've done is I've created another sheet down here at the bottom. And it looks like there's some values in there that I'm going to go ahead and get rid of. So on this other sheet, what I want to do is I want to take these words and I want to turn them into some numbers. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to use the same thing that we learned how to do back here in our real simple logic formula, and I'm going to apply the same technique here on this spreadsheet. But I'm going to cheat a little bit. Instead of doing what I did back here and writing the formula right in the formula bar, I'm going to use just a plain text editor to help me out because I know that it's going to be a really long formula and I want to make sure that I get all the syntax right before I go pasting it in here to see what happens. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to say equals if parentheses and I want to figure out what the address for this cell is right here, and it's right behind this little doodad, which is like super frustrating, right? So I'm just going to click right here, and I know that's the wrong cell, right? That's A2. A is the name of the column, 2 is the name of the row, and I really want B2. But I just wanted to get all of this information right here because it also includes the reference for the page that this comes from. So we can see down here at the bottom, this comes from the page called raw data, and I need that reference included in my formula to make sure that I'm getting the right information transplanted over here. So instead of A2, what I really want is B2, so I'm just going to go ahead and make that change. Perfect, there we go. So now what I'm going to do, now that I've had this handy little start for me, I'm going to copy that out and I'm going to bring that over here into my text editor. I'm going to plunk that in there. Okay, there we go. So if raw data B2 equals, and let's see what my options for responses are. I think I remember what they were, but let's go back and take a look just to make sure that we get it all right, because it would be frustrating if we got some of that wrong. So back on our survey page here, we can see that I said strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to write all of those out. Strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. So now that I've copied down all the terms that I used here from my survey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, right here in my text editor, I'm going to start to write out this complex formula. Now you'll remember that before what we had to do is we had all of those different nested responses. And what that looked like right here in our simple logic formula. Remember how we nested these two responses? If A4 is red, mark it 1. If A4 is blue, mark it 2. We need to do that for each one of our different responses here. So in total we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 altogether. So I've got 1 here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. I think that's 1 too many actually. Let's get rid of that last one so I don't get lost. Okay, so if raw data B2 is strongly agree, let's take this one and put it right up here. Mark it 5, comma. And we're going to repeat that same process here for agree, for neutral, for disagree, and for strongly disagree. Now it's important that we add the close portion of our quotation marks at the end of all of our words here. And it's going to be important that we give this a score. So there's 4, 3, 2, and 1. In this case, I'm not going to have 0 as a possible answer. The other thing that's important is I need to have commas after the end of these numbers, but only for these guys, because after 1, I need to have all my closed parentheses. So I'm going to add a comma here, I'm going to add a comma here, and I'm going to add a comma here. So you can see so far that what we have is equals if raw data B2 says strongly agree, mark it 5. If it says agree, mark it 4, and so on. So now what I can do is now I can start to line these up in a way that's going to really make sure that they're ready for spreadsheets to read them. So you can see why I didn't want to write this formula like this in my formula bar, because I could have gotten lost really fast. The other thing I need to do is I need to make sure that I add in 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parentheses here at the end. So now I'm going to copy this whole big long formula. I'm going to come back over here to my scored data page, and I'm going to paste that in so we can see that all the way across here. So now when I hit return, you can see that it went ahead and scored that for me. So it must have been strongly agree. That must have been what I said over here. Is that true? Strongly agree. That is what I said. So now what we can do is we can grab the little corner of our formula bar here. We can pull that all the way across, and we can see that it's going to score all the rest of the responses for me. So what I can do is now, so I've got some more responses that have come in here. I can come across, I can copy all these formulas, and then I'm going to copy them down. And lo and behold, there are the scores that Spreadsheets has done all the calculations for me. So that's great, that's really wonderful, it's very handy, and it means that once we have a survey, we can have Spreadsheets do all of the scoring and calculations for us, which allows us to do some of the really more interesting and more fun parts of examining our data. Hope this helps. There's more to come soon. Bye.